We live, y'all. Can y'all see me and hear me? We 5 by 5. I got my headset on. We're streaming with Backwoods, so I don't know if it's working or not. Don't have a normal microphone. We're going, Kelly Rambo. We going. Um, find out if we are 5 by 5, and then I want to get to Prepper Trucking's comment there because it's interesting, right? Thank you, A Troop. Dome Seeker. That's right. They can't blame Trump for any of it now. Oh, let's see. Interesting comment. I'm telling y'all, he's usually right. Let me just say he has sent over a lot of theories and stuff like this on Patreon. He usually nails them, which is why it's interesting to me. In March, the markets are going to start to crash. In July, blood in the streets. Let's hope not, but of course that's possible. Begins because there are no supplies, no work to buy what supplies are available at such a high price. Makes me glad that I've been prepping. October, there'll be a war to enact emergency powers of state to postpone the election. FJB won't be there. Harris takes his position and submits the U.S. to the UN. Oh boy. You're making me want to stack more stuff right now, man. Uh, no offense. I hope you're wrong on all of that, but seems to line up. You know what I'm saying? Aloe Farms. The island is just a distraction. Nothing will happen. I don't know if anything will happen or not. I think it's important that the names are finally out there. I'm not convinced that all of the names are on that list, and I don't like the fact Backwoods was talking about it this morning. I don't like the fact that they're hiding video and stuff like this. They are suppressing that. But again, I want something to be done about it. But to your point, I don't know if they'll actually do anything about it or if they're just giving people just enough to shut them up, you know what I'm saying? How y'all doing, by the way? Good afternoon. That's what I'm afraid of. We'll never know the entire list. A lot of people on there, of course, they're rich, but there's like super elite status and then just your average Joe Hollywood types. I think the average Hollywood level elite, a lot of those folks are going to get outed. I don't know if anything will happen to them. It should, but I don't know if it will. But these super elites, I think they'll protect them, which sucks. When when you really stop and think about it, it does suck because like 1% of 1% runs the entire world. They've got this structure set up. Y'all know this, but they've got this structure set up and they just throw money at it. And as long as they throw money at it, they have immunity for anything, and it just I wish the rest of the people, the 99.9% would wake up and say, "No, we're tired of you," and oust them and not make it about money. But again, we know that's probably never going to happen. Uh, I'm glad. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. It is different, which is what I was shooting for. Um, I could have hosted it with a lot of different people because I've enjoyed everybody, honestly, that's been on panel. He mentioned Zombie Farmer, who we text back and forth sometimes, who I really like, and he's a great content creator. But when we did stream together, it's so funny that Backwoods brought that up and threw me under the bus, son. I had like an hour's worth of material and questions, and Zombie Farmer's just to the point. You know what I'm saying? And 10 minutes in, I was like, "Oh God, I have no notes." So we had to freestyle for 50 minutes, and Backwoods. I explained it to him like this, and if y'all ain't into wrestling, y'all probably not going to get it. But w- we're like two wrestling commentators. Pro wrestling. If y'all have ever watched pro wrestling, or if that's your thing, you always have that one who's more analytical and they're calling the match and they're trying to be professional, just saying. and then you have that other commentator. It's kind of the good cop, bad cop. And I knew what I was getting into with Backwoods, and I knew there was going to be some backlash, and there has been some backlash over the language and stuff. But and a couple of people didn't like that he threw a creator's name out there this morning, and it totally surprised me. I had no idea he was going to do that, but he's his own man, and he's responsible for what he says. And the only rule that I've ever had when I co-stream with somebody on my channel is be yourself. Don't not be yourself just because you're a Prepper Nation. So I knew some people were going to be pissed over the language, and I can understand that. And the rest of the time, it's going to be business as usual. But I did want something a little bit different once a week, so that's where the podcast came from. Um, I saw that on the chat replay. You had said that earlier today. And I don't know. He just tells it like it is. Somebody in chat this morning said you never have to worry about what Backwoods is thinking because he just throws it out. He gets a thought and he throws it out, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes if you go back and watch the video from this morning or the live stream, a few times my eyes were like, oh God, I can't believe he's throwing this person's name out here and he's doing this, but that's just Backwoods. That's just who he is. Or Uncle Si. He does look like Uncle Si. I told him that and he just laughs, but he doesn't do anything with it. He should be wearing Duck Dynasty stuff. Like he could make a living impersonating Uncle Si with the teacup and stuff. Um, yeah, the chat was pretty fired up too. The chat was really good. I'm open to any suggestions because again, we're going to be talking about the Second Amendment next week. But I rather harshly showed folks the door, but Backwood lights a fire under your butt. Love his rants. I do too. Um, Open to any suggestions because no podcast is ever going to be perfect. But we were trying to interact a lot with the chat because when we were setting things up, because it's been months now. We've been going back and forth trying to decide what we wanted it to look like. And one thing we noticed, not every creator, but some of the creators out there, they don't really pay too much attention to the chat. You know what I mean? They're talking back and forth to each other and the chat's over here doing their own thing, and we wanted it to kind of be one thing, you know? And Captain Silva, how mindful should we be of North Korea? North Korea is going, in my opinion, they're going to do whatever China tells them to do. Um, so I would be mindful of them because China can use North Korea. I always call them China's junkyard dog. If China wants something accomplished, in terms of combat, China doesn't want to be directly involved. They want to fight a proxy war, kind of like we're doing in Ukraine. They can send North Korea in and they can arm North Korea and they can fund the war indirectly. So, as far as nukes and stuff, I wouldn't be too worried about that. It's more of escalation of conflicts that are already happening. Um, Maybe I should have put a parental warning or something at the beginning, but honestly, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I told Backwoods to be himself. I've seen him on other panels. We've podcasted together before. I didn't know how much Backwoods was going to bring with him. And, it is what it is. I had fun. That's the main thing. I had fun, and most people seem like they did too. Um, North Korea becomes a real problem. South Korea can become an island nation. Yeah. China could indirectly fund a war, a proxy war against South Korea. And they could do it at such a time when we're already in the Middle East, already funding Ukraine, and stretched so thin that we really can't help too much with South Korea. You know, and that's the worry. Plus, it can jack shipping lanes and stuff up, which we were already seeing some of that. Already seeing some of it with the, but they're so ridiculous though. These little speedboats that they use. I can drive to the lake. It's a little ways away, but I can drive to the lake and people are out there, drinking Miller Lite, driving the same style speedboats, and I'm like, this is really your Navy, bro. You you're going against one of the most powerful navies in the world. You're trying to hijack ships, and you're driving a speedboat that I could get at Bass Pro Shops if I had enough money on me. Really, and a couple of AKs that are bolted down to the front or something, and a pirate flags or whatever they got going on. It's it's something else. Oh man. Um, I approved one comment. Did you see the one naysayer this morning? We knew going in. I appreciate that dynamite. We knew going in that we were going to have some pushback, but we just want to be ourselves and try and be different than a lot of the other stuff that's already out there. Um, yeah. So it was expected. What y'all think about see, the list dropped. Everybody was expecting Trump to be on it. To my knowledge, he was not unless it's changed. Who did I see on there? Oprah, David Copperfield, David Copperfield. Um, like I was telling Backwoods backstage earlier, most of the names I didn't recognize. They're, billionaires and they're in the financial sector or in Hollywood or something, but I didn't know exactly who they were. And then the one Prince was on there, which I kind of figured. And old Slick Bill. Old Bill's on every list, isn't he? No, I have not. I I have not. Um, I've been stacking ammo, but it's for the stuff that I already have. Um, AK, a decent AK is up there in price. Anything that resembles it, and the same thing with an AR. And I've seen AR builds that are actually 22s. Those are affordable, but a straight on AR or AK, just out of the budget. Uh, Pistol grip. It's I don't know. I don't know what it is that scares people about it, because when you get right down to it, the nuts and bolts of it, especially the AR, it's a standard rifle. It's just got places where you can attach things. You know what I mean? And there seems to be a huge percentage here in the United States that they can't differentiate between an AR that you can go to the store and get and a military weapon. Because I guess because they look similar, it's like a boogeyman. And it doesn't help that mainstream media is constantly, constantly, constantly keying in on it was an AR. It was an AR style weapon. It was a AR style this or this. Um, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Gilligan, who didn't off himself, wasn't offed by her or somebody under her employ. I'll just put it that way. Well, cheap means different things for different people. Yeah. Um, if somebody's used to dropping 2 grand for guns, AR may seem cheap right now, but a decent brand and everything, it's just not with house taxes and all of this other stuff going up. Insurance, wife's insurance just went up. It's just we're in the middle where everybody else is at, getting hit from all sides by Biden and his idiot show. Um, Sounds like a good deal. 750 bucks. When I think about a decent rifle that is set up, um, For me, it's 1,000 plus. So that's to me, that's a good deal. I'm thinking 1,000 plus. And of course, you get into different brands and things like this, or you buying it secondhand, or you buying it straight up. Mm. Put a rail on my Mini 14. I can attach stuff. So next week on the live stream podcast, we're going to be talking about the Second Amendment, since we're already talking about this kind of stuff, right? Are there any topics specifically, like specific bills and stuff that you would like us to talk about? Because Backwoods is spending the entire week basically deep diving on some of the bills, and of course he's going to bring receipts, and we'll pull them up on the screen and stuff. Um, I'm considering a 9 millimeter carbine, but I'm open to correction. Um, I don't Dynamite. Is there something wrong with me for wanting a Car 98 rifle? Is there something broken inside of me? Have I watched too many movies and documentaries and things um, to actually want a Car 98? Uh, Especially over an M1, but in general, just wanting a Car 98. I don't know. I don't know why there's such a delay here. Let me check real quick on YouTube and see if there's the same delay. 700 bucks is not bad, Dynamite, honestly. But then you get into the attachments. What kind of attachments do you want on there and stuff like that? And that, oh my goodness. My big fat fingers, y'all. Sorry here. Yeah, it's a want list. We're window shopping at this point. I want a belt fed. Yeah, we're just window shopping right now. Um, Speaking of, unless something changes, it looks like it's going to be Heartbreak Ridge this week. But it is very, very close. Very close. The Bunker Club and the Coffee Club both have Zombieland in the lead, but Patreon is, I think, going to pull it through and clean sweep here. I don't know. I can't even pull it up on my phone. What am I doing here? Yeah, bear at 50. Give me a bear at 50, and I'll be straight. I don't know how well you could defend the home with a bear at 50 though. Once they got to the door, you know what I'm saying? Because the rifle would be like half the length of the living room. In Tennessee Care is not reimbursing doctors as of this week. Offices are closing left and right. Really? Um, huh. The only thing that I have to report here on this end that we've seen that's kind of odd is a lot of the my wife brought this to my attention yesterday. A lot of the birthing units, where babies are born and stuff, they're closing down in the local hospitals, and people are having to drive an hour plus to get to hospitals that are doing that, and it's because they don't have enough staff for that. So I don't know. Waters Family Homestead, my chat freezes. I'm sorry about that. I change it to all chat and back to top, and it goes back to moving. Yeah. I'd love to blame it on a bug or some kind of computer glitch, but they do this on our channel all the time. I at some point you begin to realize they're just messing with you, right? I would like to know basic hardware laws in all states in case you get stopped. Asking for a friend. um, we might be able to. We might be able to, but the issue is, even if a state allows it, oftentimes a city is not going to, or they have some kind of weird ordinance or something. Um, No, YouTube does not love me, A-Troop. Are you kidding? Next week's radioactive. We briefly discuss how the media jumps on the gun issue after shootings? Yeah, I can do that. I can make sure I bring that up before any details have been released. Yeah, they're already painting the picture of the suspect before they even know anything about him. Well, it's probably one of those MAGA people over there, and they probably look a certain way and believe a certain way. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Um, my mom is on the fence about a shotgun or a pistol. The one question I would have, thank you, Black Cat, is is she familiar with guns? Is this a first time purchase? Because if it's a first time purchase, not familiar with guns, I would go with a smaller handgun. If she is familiar, and she's using this for home defense, I would actually prefer a shotgun at that point. Rambo wants H car, a modern version of the BAR, such a fantastic weapon. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was, or at least there were certain varieties that were steam fed, but that's lottery money. Yeah. I want to be like Rambo Dynamite with the shotgun close counts. Yeah. For home defense, a shotgun is the way to go, in my opinion, if you're familiar with guns. But if somebody's 70 years old, they've never ever fired a firearm, here's a 12 gauge. I don't know. They would need some extensive training on it. Um, some people will point to 380 pistols. I don't really care for 380s. I would rather actually have a 22 pistol than I would a 380. 380s are just, I don't know, maybe there's some good ones out there, but every 380 that I've fired is way too small for my hand, and it just seems like a toy gun almost. Of course, some 22s do also, but I've seen some bigger 22s. Yeah, that's another interesting point to make. It's kind of hard to miss with the shotgun, so long as you're not throwing your shoulder out or slapping yourself in the face. As long as you know how to hold it and deal with the recoil that comes with it, kind of hard to miss. Plus, if it's a pump, man, there's there's just something about that sound. If you've never heard it, it's hard to explain, but once you hear it, it's like that throaty, okay, I done went into the wrong house here. Let me back out slowly type of sound. These people ain't playing. That's the type of sound. Yeah, you could get into hunting small game. I'm not even gonna bring up squirrel dynamite, but other small game. Yeah, rabbit and stuff like that. You could definitely hunt. Mom has a 79 22 long rifle but never fired it. Okay. So, yeah, boomstick, black cat, whirly gig. So, yeah, if she's never fired it and she's never, you know what I mean? She's not used to firearms. I would almost say a pistol at that point, a smaller pistol. Maybe a 38 if you can find a decent price on a 38. They're not too bad. They're very safe. Um, revolvers in general are very safe. Finding ammo for them locally, though, is hit and miss, I've noticed with the 38. Yeah, well, it is a good choice if you're not eating it, and I'm not eating it. So, yeah, it's a good choice. Squirrel get out of the trash, and it's over at that point. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, very sorry to hear that. His best friend were both shot in the line of duty by a thug with a 380. Sorry to hear that. Get a 357 you can use. Um, 38 special. What is the one? I know this is a funny place to end it, but I know somebody in here's got to know some Walking Dead fans in here. What is the Python revolver that Rick uses on there? Is that a is it a 44 or is it something else? The huge pistol that he starts out with, like the first couple 3 seasons on there. Um, I I should know this. I've seen a couple of gun shows, but they're like $1,500. I think it yeah, that's I'm torn on that. I think it's a 44, but I know they watched The Walking Dead and they're saying 357. Um, I'm gonna have to look it up now. Might have to Google it when I get off here. It's one or the other. It's a slick looking gun, but I've seen them chromed out and everything. Um, but anyway, appreciate the support outside of YouTube. Tomorrow, not sure what we're talking about yet. I'm gonna ponder for a little while um, on what Chad was saying earlier and look into that. Brother, if you got any links that you want to send or any kind of intel you want to send via Patreon, be a really good topic to talk about and warn people about. I think, unless something else crazy happens in the world, which it typically does. But until then, y'all take care. God bless.